Good afternoon, and welcome to the first annual Washington Metropolitan Area Holistic Summit for Multiple Sclerosis. This summit is sponsored by Healing Hands Physical Therapy Services, and we would like to really extend a special welcome to the DC Society, Multiple Sclerosis Society, and the Prince George's County, Ms. Yana. You're not alone, Multiple Sclerosis Society. We are Healing Hands Physical Therapy Services, and we're sponsoring this event today, and I'm your host, Marva Marsh. For the next hour or so, we're going to explore some pretty good facts and concerns about multiple sclerosis. We truly want to zero in on life experiences, and our experts would like to let you know about Healing Hands. We are a unique practice of physical therapy in the Brooklyn area, Northeast Washington, D.C. We've been incorporated since 1994, and we've been in business since then. Our presenters today, by the way, are friends, family, patients, and of course, now your friends. We really would like to let you know that we are able to add value to your lives individually, uniquely, and specialized when you come to our practice. We work on freeing movement with our healing hands. We work with the disease process not only with multiple sclerosis, as many of you know, it is a neurological impairment, but we work with orthopedic concerns, the workers' comp patient, motor vehicle collision patients, pediatrics, personal injury, and symptoms and diseases of the life. In addition, we provide total body massage. And we project in spring of 2015, we will provide fitness, wellness, and prevention after physical therapy for those patients who desire a more advanced fitness lifestyle. We also provide physical therapy education regarding insurance, and more so regarding the Affordable Care Act for all Americans. So that's an important key for, I think, a lot of us today. We have participated in several events at local Macy's department stores, offering hand massages. We offer seated massages and chair massages at churches, fraternities, and basic health fair events. We plan to partner with our insurance providers, and we have one in particular that is in the Northeast corridor that we will hopefully become partnering in advanced fitness ideas and training through their health and wellness outreach center in Northeast. One of the greater partners we have had relationships we've had for the past 2-3 years is the Downtown Clusters Group, and that is a daycare group for the elderly, and we aim to co-join with their goals in that we would like to serve and support their families with trust and care for their loved ones. We project in late January or early February 2015, we will open Healing Hands at the Heights in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And by spring of 2016, we will launch our physical therapy aid training program. The purpose will be to introduce physical therapy and the profession and nurture those who would like to become a physical therapist.
There's a difference between co-pays and co-insurance. And a lot of people may get this mixed up because they think that, well, I'm paying a co-pay, which usually is with a plan that has gives you more liberal. You don't have to stay within the network. So let's go through the plans. You have HMOs, you have point of service plans, and you have PPOs. The HMOs are the managed care organization, and they are the ones that want you to go back and get a referral every time the doctor sends you somewhere. Then you have the point of service, which gives you the liberty to choose where in the network you want to go. You can still go out of the network, but it may be a little bit more of a cost for you to go out of the network, but you can do that. And then you have the PPO, which is your preferred provider organization, and you can go in and out of the network at choice with no referral. So if you have a copay, you're paying that copay every time you go to the doctor, the specialist. You know, when you have those things. Your co-insurance is when they decide, we're gonna pay a portion of your medical, and then you have another percentage of that portion to pay after you pay that bill. So, you just wanna understand your insurance. A lot of people don't understand insurance until it comes to a benefit they need, and then you're like, well, I didn't know that. So it's good to try to, you know, either ask more questions to your insurance plan. You can call the member services line, they can explain it, or like when we do it, Healing Hands, we take that time and we explain it to you, especially our benefit, but you know, we can explain it to you. And I think that covers pretty much everything I have to say, and I thank you for your time.
There are a lot of sophisticated definitions for advocacy, but the most simple definition is advocacy is learning simply to ask the right questions in order to get the right answers. See, because you may ask a question and get an answer like 4 times 2. It is A, but I'm not looking for A. You feel me? Advocacy, I'm gonna move you. Advocacy affects families. It not only affects the individual who has MS, but it affects their parents, it affects their siblings. So in some form or another, all of us must learn how to advocate. Another thing about advocacy is what I want us to start concentrating on is not in the word disability, let's concentrate on the word ability. Because every individual with MS or anything else has some value to him or herself. You got me?
Yeah.
Do you agree? Okay. And then the word special education. I choose to say unique education. Because if you look at it, all of us are special, aren't we? Aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. We rolling now. Now, in this thing called MS, there are different networks that you could go to, and all this stuff I'm talking about, I got handouts at the end of this, so don't worry about it. And I'm very approachable. Right, Mom?
Right.
Right. Okay. So there's an MS helpline advice. Say, for instance, you really have not been diagnosed as yet. You could call that advice line and give them your symptoms, and maybe they will gear you in the right directions on where to go to get, quote unquote, a more definite diagnosis and things of that nature. There's also a line where you could connect to other people, peers with MS or families with MS. And I think that would be helpful in terms of the support system, because at one time or another, all of us need support. So I'm going through this thing so I can finish in my time frame. Okay. In terms of any disability, if you go and look at the ADA, which is the American Disabilities Act, it affords you certain modifications and accommodations. And that's with employment, because we all want equal employment. Communication, any government affiliated organization, if you see those disabled labels that you put on your car, that's by ADA. There's a phone number that I will refer you to, and also ADA.gov will give you the basic parameters of the American with Disabilities Act. And then you have for school age persons, IEP process. The IEP process. And we need to be familiarized with that, because especially if we have school age, and even if we don't have school age persons, because we may need to advocate for our child or for someone else's child, because we're not going to keep this information to ourselves, are we? No. Also for those who have had MS as a youngster, while you're growing up, you may qualify for what they call Social Security Insurance, SSI. So I will leave with you the number to the Social Security Administration where you could call and you could ask them, because we're going to ask the right questions, right? We're going to ask them, and we'll get all our medical documentation in order so that we can ask the right questions to see if our child can qualify for SSI. And then there are those who acquire MS later in life who have worked. And for those, that's SSDI is available, which is basically a disability type insurance. And they do it based upon the number of quarters that you have acquired. So you also go through the Social Security Administration for that. But in a nutshell, what I would like each and every person to do is start thinking about himself or herself as unique and not that special education thing. Also, start advocating. If it's something as simple as, if I want your sheet, I need to ask you the right question. I don't need to beat around the bush. We need to be more direct so that we can advocate not only for ourselves, but for everyone else. And we're going to be doing some networking here. So we need to commit to getting at least one number from one individual here who we did not know before we entered this room. Agreed?
Yeah.
Agreed? Oh, I want it to be unified.
Agreed.
Agreed. I just advocated. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Good information, and I think that we need to learn to support one another and move beyond just our own little shells that we have. Next is Ashley Elliott Adams, and she is a clinical psychology doctorate candidate, and she owns Vivid Innovations Consulting, LLC.
So today I want to speak with you all about MS and social emotional wellness, which is basically the balance of interacting with others and maintaining your own emotional wellness. As a clinician, at the clinical, personal, and professional level, I've encountered MS. I have many clients that I have done psychotherapy with, that I've had the pleasure of working with, that were just diagnosed with MS in childhood or later in life. In a community mental health, it's not uncommon to see a primary care physician or a specialist refer you because of the emotional and the behavioral symptoms that come along with MS. Often when dealing with a medical diagnosis that involves chronic pain or any issues to changes of the quality of life, you want someone to be able to talk to you. You want someone to be able to help you sort out those ups and downs. And dealing with those changes of quality of life can have a profound effect on the emotional functioning. And this is something that I like to do. I usually refer to MS as a disease by nature, but as a clinician, I refer to it as a disorder. But for the purposes of today, I'm going to refer to it as a condition, because conditions are things that can be affected by change. So we're going to keep it in the positive and say the condition. So with this condition, you can encounter depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, adjustment disorders, and even bipolar disorder. In fact, those with MS, newly diagnosed and later in life, you may have more depressive symptoms than people in your average everyday circle, which at least one of us at one point of our lives will feel depressed or feel down. So how do we navigate through all this information that doctors have given you about your diagnosis? How do you maintain a healthy lifestyle and then deal with your own curiosity to go research more about yourself? Because
Is deep breathing. Something as simple as taking slow, deep breaths. When we're in stressful situations, we will sometimes take shallow breaths, but we don't even realize it. But what you want to do is allow enough air to come into your lungs and blow it all out, so that you'll be able to let the oxygen flow through your body and keep your body in a state of homeostasis. Tranquil music. Music is most people's source of relaxation. So if you like gospel music, or if you like hip-hop music, or if you like just music with no words, whatever is safe for you, create that space. For those individuals that are physically able, you can do yoga practice. That is an exercise technique that can help with flexibility. It helps with decreasing stress. It helps to center yourself, balance yourself. So with that practice, if you're physically capable, you can definitely engage in yoga practice. Spirituality, that's a huge way to manage stress. As some people who do attend the various types of churches, they know that their faith will tell them, basically the same things. Don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive. Don't worry, there's nothing that you physically can do, but you can rely on your deity to help you through that circumstance. So spirituality is important. So a social network, having social networks of friends, others with the condition, family, you name it. Just not isolating yourself. When you're in an isolated environment, that will ultimately increase your level of stress. So we want you to be around people, surround yourself with those that love you. Nutrition. Nutrition is very important. It's difficult to change your diet if you have been eating a certain way for multiple years. However, with MS or any other pathology, and even just an individual who doesn't have pathology, you want to feed your body things that will help it to sustain life. So you want to cut back on the sugars, cut back on the processed foods, cut back on the carbohydrates, the bad carbohydrates, the white bread, white rice, and things of that nature. Cut back on things that are going to increase the sugar in your blood, that will also be difficult for your body to process. So you want to feed it healthy things. Let's see. Another good thing that you can do, if it's affordable, is massage therapy. Massage therapy is another technique that individuals use for relaxation most of the time, because just having hands on your body will release endorphins that help to basically tell your body, I feel good at this moment. So it's important to find those things, different techniques and things like that that can help out with your stress and anxiety. Last but not least, so one thing I wanted to also inform you about are the different technologies. With this day and age, we have an app for everything. But there's actually apps for meditation, there's apps for inspirational speaking, there's apps actually for mood. There's one app called Happify that actually is like a social media, but you're not really interacting with people so much, but people will, they will upload different positive things so that when you go to this app, you'll see things that are uplifting versus the depressive things that you can see on the news and things of that sort. So those are some different ways that I think you all can help to manage your stress and ultimately help to overcome any type of negative thought process with your disease condition, okay? That is it.
Thank you. And now we'll have Mr. James M. Tate III. I'm just gonna let him tell you his testimony. It's awesome. And he's definitely gonna talk to us about wellness, health, fitness, and weight loss. Now, the other half of him just left this chair. He'll tell you the rest.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is James Tate. I'm the owner of Beyond Weight Loss Total Wellness Center. And it's a wellness center focused on total fat loss, mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. So a lot of people come to me wanting to lose the physical weight, but they don't realize that there's emotional weight and mental weight that's weighing them down and keeping them from going where they're supposed to go. Now, a little bit about my testimony. I'm short on time, but I'll give you the short version. I was involved in an accident in 2007. I was an obese child, an obese teenager, and an obese adult. And the accident left me immobile for a year, and after that year, my weight went to 415 pounds. In high school, I was 275, college about 330. So I rededicated my life to Christ. These women helped to put me back together. They put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And in 1 year, my weight went from 415 to 205. All right, so then I started Beyond Weight Loss Total Wellness Center to show people that they too can do the same thing. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about your body, okay? It's time for us to start treating our body like it belongs to somebody that we love, okay? Your body is a multi-million-dollar machine. I don't care. You're driving a multi-million-dollar vehicle. So what type of fuel are you putting in? Think about that. So I'm here to introduce you to some foods that you already know and show you how those foods will help to heal your body. Every time that you eat or you drink, you're either feeding disease or you're fighting disease. So the choice is up to you. I have some quotes from some doctors, old school doctors, BC doctors, okay? So Hippocrates is known as the father of modern medicine, okay? He said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Leave your drugs in the chemist's pot if you can cure the patient with food. That was his medicine to other doctors of his time. But one question that people have is, how do they know what to prescribe? The funny thing is that God actually designed foods that look like your organs. So if your organs, if you're having issues with those things, that they prescribe you to eat that particular food. And so I'm going to introduce those foods to you, okay? So we have another one. We have tomatoes, and we have the heart. When you slice a tomato has 4 chambers. Your heart has 4 chambers. Tomatoes are also red. Your heart is red, okay? So what happens is that tomatoes have lycopene. That's something that they're pushing a lot now, all right? So what happens is that lycopene helps reduce heart disease, the #1 killer among people in America. So you eat more tomatoes, all right? If you mix tomatoes with olive oil or avocado, it will boost your lycopene consumption by 10. So we have a human brain, and we have walnuts. Look how similar they look, okay? What happens is a walnut helps develop over 3 dozen neurotransmitters for brain function. So it helps your brain to fire so that you can think and process information, all right? It's also full of omega-3 fatty acids, which help with brain function.
Go ahead.
Okay, this was definitely worthwhile. I really enjoyed myself. The speakers really motivated me. I just want to be there for my mom and, the MS Society and do better things for myself, just be there as best as I can. I really enjoyed it. He gave out a lot of information. And yeah, it was really nice.
And do you think you would attend the next one?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. How about today?
I gained a lot from each of the speakers. I'm glad that the speeches were sort of contained and they, kept my attention. But every speaker had something new to offer that I'd never thought about or just didn't know. So I think that was very good for me.
First, what was the highlight of today's event for you?
Okay, where are my questions, my answers? Well, actually, I never thought about the fact when it came down to the gentleman when he was using the food as analogy versus your 4 vital organs of your body, and I was like, that does make good sense. I mean, I was sitting there like, when you showed me the walnut, I'm like, well, I know what you're talking about. Everything. Number one, I was a coder in medical records, so I know anatomy and physiology. So, it just made good sense to me. I was like, that's good. I like that.